the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in Lexington, Ohio, the 2.4-mile, 16-turn home of the North American Sports Car Championship, which features cars like this: the exotic single-seat 200-mile-an-hour Can-Am machines, turbocharged Porsche 935, 700 horsepower, running against the American-built GT cars like this Camaro and the popular Corvettes, a collection of the best road racing cars in America. Hello there, everybody. I'm Gil Stratton, welcoming you to Diamond P Sports' second-year coverage of the world's richest sports car race, the North American Sports Car Championship, the Lumbermens 500. This is an extraordinary event because only here at Mid-Ohio is a run-what-you-brung collection of sports cars gathered together for a one-time 500-kilometer showdown. To bring you up to date on the facts of that, let's meet one of America's foremost auto racing authors, the originator of the Cannonball Run, and the screenwriter of the Burt Reynolds motion picture of the same name, Brock Yates.
Thanks, Gil. Boy, you got it. It's run what you brung here at the Lumbermens 500. As we get ready to start this thing, a lot of eyes are on this car, a GTP car, Grand Touring prototype. There are 2 of them in the field. There are only 9 of them in the world, and they're among the very fastest and most advanced racing cars on Earth. You can be sure amongst all the cars in the race, we're going to be watching this one real close.
And also, we'll take another close look at that pole sitter, the Frisbee, and the car in the background, number 78. That's the second GTP that Brock was talking about. Now the cars are pulling out for the parade lap and then several pace laps. Prior to the start of the 500-kilometer, 312-mile race, which is run on what is considered to be one of the most competitive courses in the United States, we were privileged to take a lap around the track. And thanks to this man, Jim Truman, noted under 2-liter Can-Am driver, we'll learn what to watch for and the critical parts of the track. Our Diamond P Sports camera is mounted on the back of Truman's English-built Rolf Can-Am car. As we pull out of the pits, we're paralleling the front straight, where they'll be doing 130 miles an hour and headed under the bridge toward turn 1. This is a fast left-hander at 100 miles an hour. Accelerating into a short uphill straight, going up to 130. Through a chicane, leading to a looping right-hander called the keyhole. Jim, what do you worry about here?
As we approach the keyhole, there's one thing to remember. We don't want to get too greedy. If we get in here too hot, slide a little bit too far to the left, and you won't get the car back into the corner and set up for the straightaway.
Now heading down the backstretch, this is the fastest part of the course. They'll be going better than 160 miles an hour downhill, with a sharp curve to the right at the end of it. Jim, what happens here?
Okay, coming into the turn at the end of the straightaway, we're getting set up for what's called the S's. A very fast right up over the hill to the left. The car will slide to your right, down the hill. A tight right-hander in second gear, and we'll accelerate out.
This is the back part of the course where passing is extremely difficult because of the blind spots created by the rolling terrain. The track crests a hill with a fast left-hander and heads towards a 180-degree loop, the last major corner before returning to the start-finish line.
We've come out of a fast left and we're headed for the carousel or the last turn. You kind of enter it in a downhill fashion, brake hard, keep it in the middle of the track, start to nurse it in and get set up for the start-finish straightaway.
And that straightaway leads back past the pits, completing a full lap here at Mid-Ohio. Brock, let's discuss the field.
Gil, on the pole, the black Frisbee, the fastest car in the race by far, being driven by John Morton and Tom Clauser. You'll remember that Morton drove a sister car last year in this race, dominated it until he got knocked off by a slower machine. In second place, we've got Jim Truman and his co-driver Bobby Rahal, who won this event 2 years ago. In fourth place, look out for this car, the blue GTP Lola, being driven by John Paul, an endurance driving champion, and his brilliant 20-year-old son, John Jr., a future superstar in racing, believe me. Behind them, a couple of European veterans driving a Porsche 935, Rolf Stommelen and Derek Bell. Behind them, terrific field. I'm impressed.
Well, a major contributor to the success of the race has been the sponsor, Lumbermens Insurance, whose home office is located just down the road in Mansfield, Ohio. The Lumbermens 500, the North American Sports Car Championship, is brought to you by Fram, makers of oil, air, and fuel filters, windshield wipers, and Autolite spark plugs. And by Goodyear Eagle High Performance Radials, the Racing Eagles Goodyear tame for the street. And by the Champion Spark Plug Company, the world's #1 seller. The Lumbermens 500, the world's richest sports car race. We'll be back with the start of this unique event after we pause for this timeout. Mid-Ohio, we're just about ready for the start of the Lumbermens 500. It looks like they're in pretty good position, Brock.
Looks fine for now, Gil. Let's not forget, though, that the bigger engine cars in this field are going to jump out in the lead, but they're going to have to stop 3 times. The smaller, under 2-liter cars like Truman's, 1 stop. So that's going to make a difference as this race gets underway.
There goes the pace car pulling into the pits now. Let's see. Starter Jack Sweeney has got the green flag ready. And there it goes. We're underway. The Lumbermens 500 is underway. And look at that Frisbee jump into the lead.
Just as we thought, big horsepower advantage to that car. It's very light. It's a brand new ground effects type machine, and it has all kinds of acceleration and lots of cornering power. But Truman is hanging right with him. And see, John Paul has already jumped up into 3rd place with that GTP car. He's got the biggest engine in the race, 355 cubic inches, should be putting out maybe 650 horsepower. That's going to make a difference down this long straightaway.
He's making a bid for 2nd place.
Yeah, that's the big horsepower we talked about. Truman, I don't think, can hold him up. Nope, he's by. John Paul into 2nd place.
And look at that Frisbee just going off and leaving the field.
Yeah, that's Tom Clauser in that car. This is the first time he's ever actually driven a Frisbee in competition. We'll have to see how he handles the traffic. Paul's hanging in there pretty good with him. I'm surprised. I really sort of expected that Tom would open up a bigger lead than he has already.
Real race there for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Gil, watch that 4th place car being driven by Bertil Roos. He is in another one of those under 2-liter Can-Am cars. He's a very experienced driver, runs a driving school, as a matter of fact, and I think that he's going to be a factor in this thing.
Very smooth.
He's a fine driver. Hasn't driven for a while. He's been out of racing, running his driving school, and I think that it may take him a couple of laps to kind of get the feel of this race.
And the Frisbee completes lap #1 with a nice lead and seems to be extending it over John Paul Jr.
John Paul has been complaining about the handling of this GTP car during practice, and I'm not sure whether they've gotten it sorted out. Certainly plenty of power. He gets down these long straightaways in good shape, but I would reckon that the car may be a little squirrely in the twisty parts in the back part of the racetrack.
Meanwhile, the Frisbee is really hot. He is just holding on. That ground effect's working perfectly.
And John Paul follows down the long chute right behind him. And in 3rd place, oh no, look out. Roos jumps by under hard braking going into that right-hander at the end of the long straight, and he's into 3rd place. Gil, look, oh, little bobble there, but he hangs on.
Jim Truman had to back off there, didn't he?
Well, Truman is very experienced on this racetrack, and of course it's an early stage of the race, and he's patient, so Roos may hold it for a while, but Jim is definitely in this thing for the long haul, I would expect.
These 3 cars battling for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place. And the Frisbee just out there for a nice Sunday afternoon drive.
Gil, here's problems. Graham McRae and the other Can-Am car in the field, holding his arm up, rolling off onto the apron, out, I would expect, for the afternoon. He was a former Rookie of the Year at the Indianapolis 500, a very talented driver, but this is not going to be his afternoon.
So we had the first car out of the race as we watched Tom Clauser in the Frisbee going around the track. And we asked Tom, how does your strategy differ from last year?
I think our strategy is pretty much the same. We're just going to be ultra careful passing cars. I think in the back section we're going to just kind of sit back and really pick our spots very carefully.
Well, that's what he was talking about, and he is picking his way through the slower traffic and doing a good job of it.
Let's not forget, Gil, that his co-driver, John Morton, got bumped off the racetrack while he was trying to get through traffic last year. So I'm sure that whatever John told Tom about that incident is very, very much in the forefront of his thinking as he tries to get through this little mob of slower cars.
That's going to be very frustrating when you get behind a wall of traffic like that. Now he's getting through.
Well, don't forget, too, in justice to the smaller cars, they're trying very hard. They're racing each other, and most of these cars are coupes, and it's hard to see anything out of the rear quarters of these machines, whereas Tom's car, of course, is open, and he's got better visibility.
As we watch these two Porsche 935s coming down, Brock, perhaps you could explain that flame that we see belching out when they back off.
Well, that's from the turbocharged engines that they're running. You get a fuel buildup, and when they let off the throttle, they get a belch of flame. They're very spectacular, but sometimes people think that the engines aren't running properly, but believe me, they are.
Look out. Jim Truman is in the pits. I don't think this is a scheduled stop. Wasn't he only going to make one stop in the race?
One stop was scheduled, Gil, about halfway for a driver change, and this is definitely not part of the plan. Here come the two 935 Porsches, the Stommelen car and the John Fitzpatrick car. They're going to pass him. They wanted this to happen to Truman. They needed a break to catch him. Looks like they got it.
Yep, they sure did. Oh, here comes Jim now. He's got whatever the problem was all sorted out. He's back on the racetrack and chasing those Porsches. Let's get down to Brock now in the pit and find out what happened.
Gil, I'm down in the Jim Truman Bobby Ray Hall pit. Jim was just bumped, it looks like. Bobby, was there any serious damage when he came into the pit?
No, I don't think so. Some of the bodywork got, the rear flap that covers the rear wheel got broken, but other than that, you know, no problem. In fact, maybe it's better if we have to change the right rear with him. We won't have to mess around taking that panel off. So, but it seems to be going well now on his first lap out. So, you know.
Truman going very smoothly right now. And oh, look at the side of that car. That's the car that was involved with Truman. It really knocked that left door right off.
Classic example of the challenge of this kind of racing, Gil, mixing fast cars and slow cars, and it's hard to pass. In fact, there goes Ruse onto the grass trying to get past that guy. He's shaking his fist at him. A little impatient, although, once again, we've got to understand that the guy in the Corvette may not have seen him come by.
The extreme danger of that maneuver is the fact that this morning we had early rains that made that grass very soft. Very dangerous if you get off the course itself.
These things really skate when they get on the grass, Gil. Like they say, keep it on the black part.
That's for sure. Good race now as Jean Paul Jr. has really closed in on Clauser in the Frisbee. Good race for first place now as they're lapping slower cars coming by the start-finish line.
This kid, John Paul Jr., is a real tiger, Gil. He's just sensational. He's only been racing a couple of years, remember.
He's closing ground on that Frisbee. Will not let him get away from him. John, are you happy with the car?
Well, the basic car is there. It's a very good car with the new Lola and whatnot. The Can-Am cars, of course, are much faster through the corners, but we seem to have a little more horsepower on them. I'm not particularly sure why. Having some problems with the car under braking, it's darting around and whatnot. But other than that, I'm doing 100% effort.
Gil, this is an interesting race. John's car has about 50 cubic inches more than the Frisbee's engine, but it's about 600 pounds heavier, so it makes for a very even race on this track.
It sure does, and boy, they are really close and chasing each other around. We'll be back with this fight for the lead in the Lumbermens 500 after we pause for this timeout. Back at the Lumbermens 500. $150,000 in prize money, $40,000 to the car, getting the checkered flag first, and right now the Frisbee. As we look at the leaderboard, there you see the Frisbee leading, the GTP in second place, a Can-Am car in third place, and the two Porsche 935s running fourth and fifth.
Interesting, Gil, that we've got one of each sort of running in the front four. There's a nice mix here, and certainly the outcome of the race is very, very much in doubt at this point, which is exactly what the concept originally had intended it to be.
There's Bertil Roos now, currently running in 3rd place. That 2-liter seems to be handling very nicely. Getting around those corners in great shape.
Nice light car, Gil, but let's not forget his biggest advantage, and that is he's only going to have to make 1 pit stop. Klausler and the Porsches, 3 pit stops. That could be a major factor in this race.
This ground effects car really handling beautifully, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, he's got to handle well, because he's got to open up a big lead to give him enough of an advantage to compensate for the fact he's going to have to make a driver change and 2 fuel stops as well. So Klausler's got to work very hard to open out on the Geider under 2-liter car enough so that he can be ahead at the finish.
A lot of traffic there, but the Porsche's coming through in good shape. This is the race for 4th place.
Yeah, the 2 Porsches are just hanging in there. They're anvil tough. They're very strong. They can probably run for 3 days straight without any failures, but they're difficult to drive.
Why is that?
Well, they've got a 700 horsepower engine stuck in the trunk, essentially, and they want to oversteer on tight courses like this. But let's not forget, we've got Rolf Stommelen and John Fitzpatrick, 2 world-class endurance drivers in these cars, and they're good.
You've heard the Can-Am and the GTP drivers say how tough it is. Rolf Stommelen, how would you rate the race? Is it tough?
Yes, a very difficult race and very hard, because you have very much corner here, and a lot of slow cars on the speed different even in the straight, and this makes the race very difficult for us, because I think after 2 laps we have to overtake at least, I would say, 10-15 cars each lap.
And here they come by the start-finish line. Those 2 Porsches really hanging on.
Terrific cars, Gil. Great racing record. Look out. What's this? The Lola GTP car. John Paul Jr. looks like he's out. Doesn't look like he hit anything. I would guess that he's probably broken something. The 2 corner workers talking to him. I guess he's still in the car, so there can't be anything serious about it other than a very disappointed young man. And there goes the Bertil Roos car. And boy, is he going to be happy when he comes around and sees the John Paul car sitting on the grass, Gil, because he's inherited 2nd place.
Tom Klausler in the lead now in the Frisbee there. Probably doesn't know exactly what's happened, but he doesn't have anybody breathing that closely down his neck at the moment. As he comes into oh, there goes a Corvette spinning, but I believe he missed everything. Yep, the leader got through in good shape. Here he comes in the Frisbee, and that spinning Corvette did not make contact. And now Klausler has seen John Paul's car over there, and he knows his closest pursuer is not too close anymore. Look out! The Frisbee has been hit by that white Porsche. They have made contact. They spin into the infield. For the 2nd year in a row, the Frisbee in the lead has been apparently taken out of the race with a crash.
History repeats itself. I can't believe it, Gil. Klausler certainly okay, but boy, he's got to be just so furious that this happened. We've seen the Truman car bump. We saw Bertil Roos in the 68 car run onto the grass. And now we see the leader, Tom Klausler, knocked out. It's worth repeating, this is a major hazard in motor racing of this kind.
And Bertil Roos has moved up from 3rd to 1st place in the course of 1 lap as a result of the mishaps. Let's take another look now.
Classic situation, Gil. The 2 drivers up ahead in the Porsche and the Corvette are racing each other, trying to line up for the corner. Klausler approaches so quickly that they're just not ready for him. The Porsche moves over to get in line for the corner, and bang, both out.
At least we're happy to report that both drivers are uninjured. Bad luck, though, that Frisbee, it's unbelievable, 2 years in a row.
Even more ironic, Gil, is that last year Morton's car ended up about 100 feet from where Klausler is this year. So the long walk back is almost similar 2 years in a row.
And here is the man that has found Christmas out here in the course of 1 lap. The new leader, Bertil Roos, in car number 68. The first car, the Frisbee, goes out in that crash. You saw Jean Paul with his car broken over in the infield, and there is the new leader. Roos now, remember, has to make only 1 pit stop, so his main concern now is to stay out of trouble. If he can keep out of the way of the other cars and keep the car on the racetrack, he has got it made. Right now, Brock has caught up with the first major casualty in the race. Brock?
Gil, I'm down with John Paul who just left the race after a very strong drive, but what happened, John?
Well, we're not quite sure. It's either a half shaft broke, it was tearing everything up in the back, making a lot of noise, or a rod went loose in the motor. We can't really tell.
And the Porsche's running very strongly as we've had a big change now in the leaderboard here in the race. As you see, we've got car number 68, Bertil Roos, in that Can-Am car in first place, and then 3 Porsches in a row. So the reliability of the Porsche 935s really beginning to show themselves.
Absolutely, Gil. These cars have been designed for 24-hour races like they run at Le Mans, Daytona, and other places. And 312 miles like they're running here at Mid-Ohio is just a bare warm-up for them. They could probably run as much as 2,000 miles in a 24-hour race. So their reliability isn't really being challenged here.
And we've got another race coming on as we see Jim Truman, who's threaded his way through traffic in car number 25, the 2 red cars, and that's Truman now running third in this pack. And he has really done some remarkable job after that early pit stop.
Well, Gil, Jim thought he could win this race, and there's a good chance that he can. He's made a terrific comeback after that stop. He's right behind Chris Cord in that other GTP car we talked about. They've been having some fuel injection problems and they're not running right. Bob Aiken is just in front of him in the other 935, and you can see that Truman has set his sights on both of them. There he goes. He nipped underneath Cord, and now he's right on the tail of Aiken in the 935.
So Jim Truman has now moved up to 5th place in the race, and he is taking dead aim on Aikens now as they come up to the straightaway past the start-finish line. Jim Truman really stomping on it as they head for turn number 1. And Truman got by him on the inside. Jim Truman has moved into 4th place. So the entire leaderboard has been rearranged. The most notable example was the leader, Tom Klausler, who went out with the Frisbee in that crash, and Brock has been able to catch up with him down in the pits. So let's find out exactly what was the problem.
Gil, I'm down here in Tom Klausler's pit with the Frisbee, a rather sad man, a rather early end of the race. Tom, was it another car that got in your way?
Yeah, I was passing 2 cars. One of them obviously he came over on me after I was halfway past him, and it just knocked me off the track. I couldn't believe it when he came into me.
Same thing happened to John last year.
On the straight. It was on the straight. What can you do? I don't know what to say.
Well, he's a very frustrated young man at this point, but here's a very happy driver, and that's Bertil Roos in car number 68. There is the leader. And we'll be back with more of the Lumbermens 500 after this. Gil Stratton with Brock Yates back at Mid-Ohio as our Diamond P Sports coverage of the Lumbermens 500, the world's richest sports car race, continues. Brock, are you surprised at the leaderboard right now?
Not so much surprised, Gil, as impressed at the way Bertil Roos is keeping this under 2-liter Can-Am car in the lead. He's doing a super job, staying out of trouble, and just looks like he's on his way to victory.
A very smooth drive indeed. He is handling it well. Chris Cord in the GTP into the pits now. He has not been running too well. They seem to be having some problems with that car. And the pit crew now gathered around to find out.
Wait a minute, Gil. More troubles in the pits. Bob Aiken and Skeeter McKittrick's 935 in. It looks as if they've got some engine problems. The hood is up in the back. They're going to make a driver change, but I think it's more serious.
I think there are also serious problems with car number 19 there.
Yeah, Gil, he's got some fuel injection problems, I think, with that big Chevy engine he's got in his Lola GTP car. Chris Cord, as you know, is the grandson of E.L. Cord, the man that created the Cord automobiles back in the 20s and 30s. He's tried to stay loyal to American engines all through his racing career, but I'm afraid today they may have let him down.
Must be very frustrating to be sitting there waiting. And there's Derek Bell, who is also waiting to get into the car and drive.
Yeah, he doesn't have anywhere near the problems that Chris has. He's just waiting for his co-driver, Rolf Stommelin, to bring that 935 Porsche into the pits, and presumably they're going to make a normal change of drivers and tires and put on some fuel. Here comes Stommelin now.
Has to be a quick one, though, however.
Oh, yeah, there's no time to hang about in the pits. Here comes Stomlin pulling in for a stop. This is a very good crew. As I said earlier, both of these men are long-time veterans of endurance racing. Derek Bell has won the Le Mans 24-hour race twice. Stomlin has won the Daytona 24-hour race several times. They're very used to this.
And they have to make it fast, because while we've been watching car number 3, car number 1 has also come into the pits, with Jim Busby taking over for Fitzpatrick. These two cars battling for second place. And there you see the number 3 car with Derek Bell at the wheel is out of the pits. And he made a good pit stop, and coming out of the pits is number 1. He's got the engine started, and Jim Busby at the wheel, and the interval stays about the same in the battle for second place between cars number 3 and number 1. And Brock is with the driver of car number 3 that just came out of the car, Ralph Stomlin.
Rolf, when you turned the car over to Derek, did you have anything to tell him that was alarming or troublesome?
No, I didn't say anything except I told him be careful by overtaking, because I saw so many cars crashing, and myself I had some very bad situations, but I come through quite good, and I told him just to be careful.
Well, Derek Bell is being careful as we now look at car number 1 chasing him with Jim Busby at the wheel. And we've got a battle going down the backstretch right now. Busby leading. There's your leader in the race, Roos, in the blue car. And Jim Truman has moved up into 4th place right now as they roar down that long back straight. Jim Truman really making up incredible ground. Look out, Busby is loose. He spins it into the infield. And Jim Truman has gotten through, and he's moved from 4th into 3rd place.
Well, Gil, you can certainly understand what happened to Busby. He just jumped into the car. It's full of fuel. The racetrack's a lot slipperier than when he was practicing with the car. He's a little overeager. Came down the main straightaway and probably got on the brakes a little bit too late and a little too hard, and just like he did last year, off into the grass.
Well, it's a good, strong car, and undoubtedly he will be back in action. However, Jim Truman has now taken over 3rd place, so Busby with that spin. Oh, wait a minute. There's Truman in the pits. However, I think this is his scheduled pit stop, isn't it, Brock?
That's right, Gil. Bobby Rahal has just slipped down into the cockpit. He's buckling his seatbelt up. So they've made their one scheduled stop now. Of course, they made an earlier one because of that body damage. But now Rahal should go the distance with that car, and he is very, very quick. As I told you earlier, he won it a couple of years ago here. He's got Can-Am experience, Indianapolis car experience, and some Formula One experience. Very poised young driver.
Here comes Busby around now. He may be able to regain 3rd place if Truman can't get out of the pits in time. And there he goes. No, so Busby has gone back into 3rd place despite the spin, and Truman's car is still in the pits.
Still, Gil, it's a good stop. Let's remember that these under 2-liter Can-Am cars are not designed to make pit stops, as opposed to the 935 Porsches that have all kinds of equipment for fast stops. Truman and Rahal are underway in a good pit stop. And of course, now we've got the Richard Geider Bertil Roos car that is going to have to make its stop as well. We'll have to see whether they can do it as effectively as Truman and Rahal did.
Well, he's still got the lead and driving smoothly. They must be about ready for their stop. Their crew is ready up in the pits.
Yeah, it's got to be coming up here very, very quickly.
Right now, here he comes.
Here he comes into the pits. Bertil Roos has got to be tired. He's run the whole race. He's had the lead. He's got a lot of pressure on him. And as I said earlier, he hasn't been racing a great deal in the recent years. There goes. They're going to make a tire change. No, they made it. It looks a little like they're undecided what they're going to do. It looked like they were going to change the left front. Now they're going around and change the right front, it looks like. Bertil is getting out of the car. As you can see, it's difficult to get out over this kind of special bodywork. This car was originally designed as a Formula 2 car, run in Europe before it came over here and got this kind of bodywork on it. There is no provision at all for fast fueling. It is accepted that this car would be run without fuel stops, and as you can see, Bertil Roos is trying to help to get that fuel on board. It's a very slow process.
And we saw Derek Bell there in car number 3, currently in 2nd place. And they're going to have to get 68 out of there before he comes around, or they're going to lose the lead.
Yeah, car owner Richard Geider has now climbed into the cockpit. They're just not going very quickly, though, Gil.
And Derek Bell is closing in here. He's coming around. They're going to have to get out in a hurry. Hurry up.
Poor old Bertil Roos, he gets out of the car. He's driven half the race. Now he's got to get the fuel in the thing. He's trying as hard as he can, but that stuff is awful slow going on board.
And here comes Derek Bell.
Oh,
as he turns down the home stretch, he has passed him.
Yeah.
He's just taken over the lead. Derek Bell in car number 3. There's your new leader.
What a frustration for Bertil Roos. Drove his heart out, and now he's just watching this lead dribble away while the gasoline dribbles into the fuel tank.
And Jim Busby currently now in 3rd place, car number 1. And 68 is still in the pits. Now they got
he's going to try. No, wait a minute, Gil. They've got to back the thing up. They've got another 11 gallons of fuel to put on. And if it takes as long as the first 11, they're going to be there all afternoon.
And they've just lost another place as you see Jim Busby in car number 1 go by.
Incredible.
So sitting there in the lead, and now he's in 3rd place.
Yeah, advancing to the back. Yeah, here comes Rahal with the Truman car. He's moving up. He'll probably catch him as well, I would think, wouldn't you?
If they don't get out of there pretty quickly.
Bertil Roos looks like he's just about to collapse with grief here. Geider's in the car, wants to go.
It's getting awful frantic in the pits now. You can feel the tension.
Oh, it just, everybody wants to get that car underway, but they can't do it until that fuel's on board. There, finally they're underway with the thing. But how far back has he fallen?
Rahal got by him you see him now as he went under turn 1 and up the chicane. And car 68 really lost a lot of time in that pit stop. How despondent can you be? After driving his heart out, he has dropped 3 places with the car sitting in the pit. Now number 68 with Geider at the wheel is back on the racetrack, but he has lost a lot of ground on that very, very slow pit stop. Brock Yates is with Bertil Roos.
I don't know what the situation is after the pit stop. He'll probably drop back, right? I don't know where the standings is, but I think Geider is a good driver. He can keep it up there, and I think the car was very easy to drive, and I hope he drives it the same way.
Very good. Good job. Thank you.
There's Roos's co-driver, Geider at the wheel, but he has dropped all the way down to 4th place. And look at that leaderboard. It is just topsy-turvy. It keeps changing seemingly lap by lap. We'll have more of the Lumbermens 500 in a moment. You're looking at car number 111, driven by Dennis Ossie. He has very quietly been moving up while all the other events have been taking place that you've seen into 5th place. This is a BMW M1. It's not quite as fast as some of the other vehicles on the racetrack, actually in a different class, but he has done just a magnificent job of driving and moving up really into contention among the leaders. And there is the leader, Derek Bell, in car number 3.
Very steady, very smooth, keeping the car out of trouble. What he'll do is run the middle part of the race and then turn it over to Rolf Stommelin for the sprint toward the checkered flag, Gil.
And there's Jim Busby in car number 1, and he's hanging right in there too. Of course, he's going to have to, because Bobby Rahal in 3rd place is right on his tailpipe, and he is really coming on strong, making a very good move. He's got the horsepower now, and he's going to try to get by. He gets by him. Fine, nice bit of driving by Jim Busby to stay out of the way, or he could have put them both into the fence. Brock is now in the pits with Jim Truman, the co-driver of Bobby Rahal's car.
Do you think that Bobby will take it the rest of the way?
We should be able to go without another pit stop, right?
You made a couple of stops, Jim, for some problems. What exactly did that involve?
Early on, about 6 or 7 laps in, I got hit down here in the carousel and hit it pretty hard, and I couldn't tell if anything was wrong. I knew I broke some fiberglass, so I had to come in and have them check it. We got back out. It probably cost me a half a lap.
And there you see car number 25, and he's running very nicely at the moment.
All alone, too, Gil, which is a pleasant place to be on this racetrack. Not so pleasant for Derek Bell, though. Gil, he's got the lead, but he also has 2 major handicaps. 1, his car isn't as fast as Rahal's, and 2, it doesn't have as much fuel on board. He's got to make another stop. He knows that stop could clearly lose him the race.
Brock, can you imagine the pressure that Derek Bell must be feeling right now?
Absolutely, Gil. I'm sure he watched the Bertil Roos pit stop a little earlier. He knows he's got to have one that is substantially faster than that. In fact, it's got to be a record breaker, I think, at this point.
Well, here he comes into the pits right now, and Stomlin is ready to get into the car. They got the door open.
Yeah, this is going to take time. Stomlin's got to get into the car, get the seat belts hooked up, and that takes some time. And here he comes, Bobby Rahal, gobbling up that distance.
And there he goes. He goes into first place. Bobby Rahal with car number 3 sitting in the pits. Rahal in car number 25 is the new leader.
And a nice clear track. Boy, he seems to stay away from traffic really well, Gil. I don't know. Everybody else seems to be always running around a bunch of other automobiles, but Bobby, at this point at least, is nice and clear, nice and open.
Meanwhile, car number 3 still in the pits, and boy, they are losing very valuable time.
Changing a right rear tire, that's what's holding him up right now. Uh-oh, here comes Busby. Both Porsches in the pits now, Gil.
And that's going to give Rahal in car number 25 some more space. It appears that he gets the space out there, and when Jim Truman's in the car, he has the traffic to contend with.
Let's not forget another advantage that seems to be developing for Bobby Rahal, Gil. As the racetrack opens up through attrition, more and more cars falling out along the way, it's easier for Rahal to run quickly. His car doesn't have quite as much torque as the Porsches, and therefore doesn't maneuver in heavy traffic quite as well. But as long as that racetrack stays open, Rahal runs free and clear, and it's harder and harder for the Porsches to catch up.
Ralph Stomlin back on the racetrack now in car number 3, currently running in second place. Trying to catch up with Bobby Rahal in car number 25, the current leader. As Brock mentioned, as we look at Stomlin now, who you can be sure is really pounding on it, Rahal has an open racetrack, so he has been gaining ground while this car has been in the pits. And right now there is car number 1, currently in third place, John Fitzpatrick, bringing it back out of the racetrack, and they've also got some ground to make up on the leader. But right now Brock is in the pits with Derek Bell.
Derek, fresh out of the car, you put it into the lead, but those little under 2-liter cars were gobbling up that distance while you were in the pits.
I know, it's one of those things we knew it would happen. We just hope they might have a few problems. There's still quite a while to go, yet another hour, I suppose. We just have to see what happens, you know. There's lots of traffic still.
Well, we'll see what happens with the traffic as you look at Derek Bell's car number 3 with his co-driver, Ralph Stomlin, at the wheel. Car number 1 being driven by John Fitzpatrick, and Brock has had a chance to move over to talk to his co-driver, who's now in the pits, Jim Busby.
What do you reckon it's going to boil down to now?
Well, we've seemed to have some mechanical problems with our transmission. The last 2 laps I was only running with 2nd and 4th gear, so looks like we're in for a bit of a troubled afternoon. I think that if we take it easy on the car, and if the 2-liter cars have some problems, and if Stomlin presses on a little too hard, I think we'll be all right. But right now, it doesn't look too good for us.
Well, whether it looks good or not, it is a bit of a surprise that the car is running that strongly with transmission problems. And there is Stomlin in car number 3, and he is really pressing on.
Pressing on, Gil, but not enough. It's inevitable, if the thing stays the way it is, that car number 3 just can't get around here as quickly as car 25, that under 2-liter car, the leader, Bobby Rahal. You heard Jim Busby say it, Rahal has to have trouble for the Porsches to win this race. It's that simple.
Rahal is really, look out, he's coming into the pits. There is your leader, Bobby Rahal, and this is an unscheduled pit stop. He's got a real problem, Brock.
No question about it. He's got a big problem. He's not prepared to make these pit stops. He's light and agile on the racetrack, but he weighs about 10 tons in the pits. These cars are not designed for stops, Gil, and he's got big trouble.
It appears to be something in the front end. That's what he was pointing to as he came in.
Looks like tires. Looks like they're maybe trying to change that right front tire.
Look at Ralph Stomlin back out there on the racetrack in car number 3. He is eating up ground while the leader, 25, is in the pits.
I can't believe it. I thought that he was on his way to victory. It looked so simple.
Stomlin running in second place, and if he can get around while 25 is still in there, there you see Jim Pruitt. Oh, he's out. It's okay. He is out, and he's gotten out before car number 3 got around. So car number 25 is still in the lead. Bobby Rahal.
What a close call. Rahal must have been having bad dreams about that Bertil Roost stop earlier in the going and must have seen his lead disappearing almost as quickly.
Brock, anything can happen in this race, as we've already seen, so don't go away. We'll be right back with the closing laps of the Lumbermens 500. Back at the Lumbermens 500, Bobby Rahal and car number 25 back into the pits, Brock.
Awful, awful luck, Gil. Just everything's coming unglued for him now. I don't know what the problem is, but there's his problem. That's Stomlin's in the lead.
Absolutely. Here he comes by, and Ralph Stomlin in car number 3 has taken over first place with 25 still in the pits.
What a terrible, terrible piece of luck. Now they're going to try to get the thing underway. Yep, there he goes.
Whatever the problem was, they seem to have rectified it.
Old story of the tortoise and the hare, Gil, but I still think Rahal's got enough car and enough speed left to catch him.
Well, when things go wrong, it's the old Murphy's Law syndrome. Everything goes wrong. Let's see whether or not he can make up this time and the distance all in what remains. Right now, Brock has caught up with the owner of car number 25, Jim Truman, and perhaps he can explain the trouble.
Jim, all of a sudden, complexion of the race changed very quickly. He stopped for what, front tires?
He indicated he had some vibration up front, thought it was a tire. We changed both fronts. He went back out, came in again, thought maybe they were loose. They're not loose. He's got something wrong. He's got to go with what he's got.
Well, let's see what he's got, if he's got enough left to catch car number 3 with Rolf Stommelen, because time is running out for car number 25. As Bobby Rahal, oh, he's pulling back into the pits, and that should about do it for car number 25.
Looks like the end for Bobby Rahal and Jim Truman after a really terrific drive. Brought the car from well back after some problems at the start, led the race, were dominant force, and now there goes Rolf Stommelen, just putting all kinds of distance between them. Very tough break for him.
Rolf Stommelen now, and there's car number 68 ahead of him, and he had his problems earlier, but there's a very dejected race driver, Bobby Rahal, sitting there, and there's a picture that speaks 1,000 words, Brock.
It's the hardest way to lose a race. It's one thing to be passed on the racetrack when you're trying as hard as you can with your car running full bore, but to lose it in the pits after running as well as he and Jim Truman did today is very hard to swallow.
Ralph Stommelen now coming around in through the carousel, looking for that checkered flag. Boy, he is just hanging on beautifully. Very smooth. Here he comes, and there's the checkered flag. Rolf Stommelen is the winner of the Lumbermens 500. He and Derek Bell have teamed up, driving the Porsche 935 to victory, overcoming a field that included at least 4 cars that were significantly faster. They needed a big break, and they got it. We'll be back in Victory Circle for the Lumbermens 500 in just a moment. The results of the Lumbermens 500 are now official. Rolf Stommelen and Derek Bell have won it in a Porsche. Were you surprised, Brock?
Not really, Gil. I think the format of this Lumbermens 500 has been full of surprises. We've had different winners each year. We had a couple of different types of Can-Am cars win in years previous, and now we've got a GT Porsche coming really out of nowhere to beat some seriously faster cars. And I think it's a marvelous event. It produces all kinds of variety and excitement, and even a little champagne at the end, looks like, huh?
I think they can afford it with $40,000 first prize. On behalf of Brock Yates, this is Gil Stratton saying so long from Mid-Ohio.